Hi, I'm Bob with Wolfe Ridge. Today I'm going to show you the Fuelwood Splitta 400. You guys may recognize the Fuelwood Kindlet 200 on the left side of me and the Fuelwood Kindlet Pro on the right side of me. The Splitta 400 is basically the big brother, the big bad brother to both of these machines. Kindlet 200 will do 8-inch diameter and 6-inch lengths. The Kindlet Pro will do 10-inch diameter and up to 11.5-inch lengths. And the Splitta 400 will do 16-inch diameter and up to 13-inch lengths. So today I want to walk around this machine with you guys, show you how it functions, and then we're going to split some of these oak rounds that I pre-cut on the Yappa 405. We are going to be using our Coyote tractor here that's about a 42 horse. This machine you need 30 to 35 horse at the PTO, and all you need is the PTO shaft going from the tractor to the unit. So you don't need to hook up extra hydraulics to the tractor, you just have your PTO shaft and a 12-volt source. So this comes with the 540 RPM shaft. We've got it hooked to the tractor. I'll show you the front side of this machine before we go around to the back. First and foremost, you can see down here we have a grease bank for everything that needs to be greased on a daily basis. And this is very convenient, so you don't have to go hunt to all those locations on the machine. You can grease it all right there. That's the same as it's similar on the Kindlet 200. The Kindlet 200 I think only's got 4 ports on the front, where this has got quite a few more. Over here we have basically very simple controls. We have a stop lever here. Right now we're in the stop position. If we want to start operation, we'll flip that over here. But what happens now if I open the hood, that stops this. So you have an automatic mechanical safety that comes into play if you do need to take something out of the split chamber. Here on the Kindlet Pro, this actually adjusts the size of the splits, but on the Splitta 400, this adjusts the speed of the splitting ram, which is really nice if you're in different kinds of wood. You may want it to split slower so it doesn't want to pop around, or if you're in stuff that's really easy, you can just set it to fast and you can make a lot more production. Up here is the control box, and there are electric over hydraulic solenoids in this machine. So this is running that PTO shaft, like I said, and then 12 volt off of the tractor. So once we hook up the battery cable, we'll have a voltage reading here, and then we have our stop and our start. So stop is a rotate to pop it out. If we hit it, it'll stop. So once we have the PTO shaft going and our 12 volt hooked up, we'll take it off stop, we'll hit the start button. One of the really cool things that this machine has is it has hydraulic outputs for an auxiliary conveyor. And a while back, Dan from Back 40 did a video showing this machine powering one of the Wolfe Ridge conveyors that we built without the power plant. So on the side of the machine here, these are the Ag style quick connectors from Fuelwood in the UK, and we made some jumper hoses to go to flat face, because this is what we're using here at the Wolfe Ridge factory. And then here we can adjust the flow to that conveyor. So we can turn this on and off from the operator's position, and we can change the flow right here. Hydraulic tank, sight glass for hydraulic level. If this was outfitted with an electric motor, the electric motor would actually be sitting in here and the pump gets submerged in the tank. You can see we've got hydraulic oil cooler here. That'll run anytime 12 volt is hooked up to this thing. And in fact, why don't I plug this in while I'm back here? There we go. So this is the in-feed belt. And the Kindlet 200 and the Kindlet Pro use the in-feed belt to get all the way into the split chamber. Splitta 400 does it a little bit different. We've got the in-feed belt here, and then once it's down into this chamber, there are some kind of gnarly fingers. I'll pull this one out to see if you can kind of see those in there. So they're kind of like one-way fingers. Basically, those will advance the log into the split chamber. This is using a big X-blade like the Kindlet 200 and the Kindlet Pro. Just a much larger scale. Basically, this bar here is our indicator of will it go into the machine. So if your log is going to hit right here, don't try to put it in. With any of these X-blade style machines, you want to have straight cuts and try to avoid putting knotty things in. It'll still turn it into something, but it won't really be a usable piece of firewood usually. So I've got a bunch of stuff cut here, and this is an example. That's got a knot on it, but I'm going to try and run it through here anyway, and we'll see what it does. Now, as long as I was cut to the right length, and this is really close, you can see we got kind of an angle cut here, so I don't think that'll hold up. This is, the infeed is a little bit skinnier than what the actual transfer area is going into the splitter. So if you get through here, you'll be good getting into the splitter. So I'm going to take a couple more of these oak rounds and throw them into this thing. Look at that. This one's a little knotty, a little nasty. So this one I already know will cause us some grief, but I'll still put it in there to show you guys what happens when we get to that point. Maybe I won't. All right. So on the Kindle 200, you need to go under the hood and move a nylock nut in order to change your split size. On the Kindle Pro, you have a knob right on the front. And on the Splitta 400, we have inside this cover here an adjustment. So we've got this unique deal here, and I can't open this right now because the hood isn't open. So I'm gonna open the hood, then I can open this. And remember, when we open the hood, that automatically activates that stop lever. So you can't have this door open and have the machine run, because in order to have this door closed, you have to have the lid closed. So we open up and look in here, and you can see here is that finger apparatus that I was talking about that advances the logs. And then we have a pin down here. They're actually using an Allen screw. So we would take this out, and then we can move this shaft in or out to change our split size. Right now, I think we're at a pretty good split size for like restaurant wood and parlor stoves and things like that. Remember, we're at 13-inch lengths, so we're almost to the US spec firewood of 16-inch lengths. But I think it's time for us to start the tractor and get this thing splitting wood. All right, so we got the tractor running. I am going to close the hood, which this has like a safety latch here. So I will just open and close this. Now that we're closed, I can hit my start here, right? Then up here, make sure we're off of the stop, and I'll hit the start. We're gonna start making some firewood. We hit kind of a jam just now, so then we got to hit this. So we've got it set pretty small right now to make, like, I would call this like wood-fired pizza oven wood. And this is oak that we're running right now. All right, let's stop the machine for a minute here, because this one that I put in, I thought was going to fit, and it is wedged tight here. So I'm going to grab this one out, and we're going to send down a different one that actually fits in that chamber. You know, 13 inches the max length. I think I had that one cut at like 13 1/4. So this one is the one that I thought would cause problems anyway. So I'm going to put that in here. That's going to be one of the last ones to go through. So I'm just going to try and position it a little bit so that it keeps that knot on top. And you have to keep wood against the splitter. Like, once this starts to run out of wood, then the wood doesn't get advanced anymore. So you can see how fast we went through those first few rounds. You need to keep this fed over here. And now this one, Oh, it's a little bit tight. Let's see. I think we'll be okay. It's gonna be close, but that's how I like to play. So I'll put one more, try and put one more in here. Let's see if this fits. Not even close. All right, who cut these? There we go. All right.
All right.
And you can see we've got this thing set really small. I already know I'll get the comments for the kindling. That's fine, but look at that. And you know, this isn't all nice straight grain stuff either. There's knots and crooks and twists in here, so a conveyor would be very helpful. But let's fire it back up. We're about to get to that knotted one. It'll be interesting to see how it takes that. Here we go. Okay, so let me show you another thing that happens here. If something does start to go sideways and things get kicked up, that'll end up, just like our kindlets do, it'll pop up and it'll trigger the stop on this thing. So that piece, like I said going in, it was going to be an issue, and it kind of is. So what we'll do now is close this, close, yep, take that, and I can push that down like that, hit my valve. All right, so basically I just wanted to get a cycle to make it go back. Let's take a look at this thing. I'll put that piece back in there. That one's not so bad, but this is the piece that was kind of causing us to flip up and everything. So you know what, I'll try and run it again. Kind of like to show worst case type stuff, but normally if I was going to be running this for production, I'd have kicked this one aside. I wouldn't have put it in here. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these machines. What? I think we ran maybe 10 rounds through here, and I got this pile right here. Now, some of this stuff wasn't ideal, and guys, I want to be straightforward with you on any of these X blade style machines. You want to put in the nicest, straightest wood that you can. So, you know, this is not a machine to get tree service wood and throw it in there and expect good results. So keep that in mind when you're looking at splitters. You know, the saying of garbage in, garbage out, it applies to a lot of things. And when you put stuff in here that's really knotted and really twisted, you know, it'll go through the machine, but it might end up crumbling it and twisting it apart. But when you get to the nice stuff, like look at these split sizes. Now this is a very specific split size for a very specific market, but if you're looking at like wood-fired pizza ovens and restaurants that cook with wood and things like that, this size is ideal. This is amazing. Look at that. It's like, what do you think? That's an inch and a half, 2 by 2 maybe? That looks like a nice piece of firewood. Another thing I want to point out is if you get a machine like this, you need a conveyor. Like there's no way. This was building up here while I was trying to get extra rounds in there. And unless you've got somebody here to take the stuff away, you either need 2 people or you need a conveyor. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at a machine like this. It's built for production, and keeping this in-feed fed is going to be a full-time job. And if you're putting stuff in it that's crooked, that's got a lot of knots in it, then you're going to be babysitting the split chamber a lot more, which will also apply to the kindlets, the Kindlet 200, the Kindlet Pro, and even other X style splitters that are out there. You know, if you put in that twisted, knotted up stuff, here's a good example. Like, this is not gonna go in there and turn into nice firewood. It'll do something with it, but you're gonna be sorting through your pile later with a bunch of this stuff. So try to sort out the good rounds, the nice straight stuff. Try to cut your stuff straight and try to be under that 13-inch length. You can see I cut these, so I take responsibility for them not fitting. Some of them were a little bit too big, so you'd rather be a little bit too small than too big. I hope you enjoyed that quick intro and test run with the Splitta 400. Guys, if there's something else you want to see with this machine, different species, different sizes, let me know in the comments. Same thing if you want to see anything different from us here at Wolfe Ridge, let me know in the comments, we'll make a video for you. If you want pricing, tech specs, photos, videos, dealer locator, event schedule, and more, always check out the website, www.wolferidgemfg.com. I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, thank you for the support. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next at Wolfe Ridge.